What's up and welcome back. Today is day 26 of the Soul Movement Challenge. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get into some movement. We're going to start out bringing the hands together, again, bringing the elbows together and starting out with a nice wrist, wrist roll here. And take your time with this, go as slow as you need to. I want you to see if you can match my articulation here. So this may require you to just slow your brain down a little bit because this is definitely one that can get quite challenging, both mentally and physically. Take your time with it. Kind of notice that I'm flexing my wrist over, showing my back of my hand off, flexing my wrist over. All right, now let's go the other direction. So now I'm coming back. It's almost like I'm showing myself the back of my hand and then showing myself the back of the other hand. And the whole time you're trying to hold your elbows close together. If you want an additional challenge, you can try to bring the elbows a little higher. The higher you go, the harder the movement. So going a little bit lower, even separating the elbows allows it to be a little more mild. And then we're going to stay in this same format. We're going to unlock the hands and then lock them the other way. So now the opposite thumb is on top. And we're going to that forward wrist roll again. And this can be a pretty challenging movement, just keeping the hands and the elbows in this position. So that's a good thing, not a bad one, but it can get fatiguing. So if you need to take breaks, feel free to. Still try to focus on how much articulation you can get with your wrists. All right, let's go ahead and see if we can switch it and go the other direction. So kind of going 4 directions in total. Nice. Maybe focus on your breathing here. It's definitely one that gets easy to rush the movement. So anytime you can, just try and slow the movement down and you can rest. Shake it out a little bit if your shoulders are starting to feel fatigued at all. And then we're going to take it into a loop, which is something we've done now a handful of times. We've done this up here. Today we're going to be doing it down low, but the premise is the same. I'm just bringing my arms and trying to create basically like 2 side-by-side circles, trying to move. And I do have a fist on both hands, but the fist is pretty loose. So just trying to, almost like you're holding an egg or something somewhat fragile in your hand. All right, let's go ahead and switch directions. And if you're not already, this is one that you could absolutely play with in terms of the intensity, both in speed and in speed, like playing with the, playing with the speed. So slowing it down, speeding it up. You can also play around with how much tension you're actually giving in your hands. And obviously you could add weight even if you wanted to. All right, we're gonna keep going, but we're gonna bring it out. We're gonna take it into a big arm circle. Taking a big inhale, kind of bring it back so you can see the entirety of my arm circles here. And your goal is just to try and keep your head neutral. Try not to look down at all. And then go in the other direction. All right, nice. We're gonna stay kind of with the focus on the shoulders here. We're gonna go into a little figure 8. So one shoulder is gonna come up while the other shoulder kind of drop down while the other shoulder comes up. So it's like you're swimming without your arms, just your shoulders. Allow for your body to rotate, but my feet, just so you kind of see, my feet are not rotating, my upper body, my shoulders, but putting a lot of the emphasis towards what the traps are doing. So one, excuse me, one is elevating, one is pulling down. Now let's go the other direction. So it'll kind of feel like you're going backwards. And try to go roughly the same speed. So trying not to slow it down or speed it up, but trying to kind of mimic the speed you went on the forward roll. Gets easy to go a bit fast on this one if you're not creating some intention not to do so. All right, you can rest. We're going to get the upper body moving a little bit more. So we're going to bring the arms out into a T position. We're going to now try to flex the hands back. And it's okay if they're not like perfectly vertical, but you are going to try to hold that position. And then in that position, we're going to go forward with the leg and backward with the leg. So similar to something we've done before, but now with the arms out. And it should be pretty mild. So I'm not trying to like come up and kick my forehead or anything. It's just a really smooth forward and backward. And your goal is to basically hold this upper body position so that your body is not, doing one of these numbers, really trying to hold that position as best you can. I say that as I'm falling out of it here. All right, and then you can go ahead and switch legs. And the premise is the same, standing on the leg, keeping the hands where they're at, and just getting some forward and backward kicking. Keep the movement as small as you need to try and keep it as balanced as you can. All right, you can rest. You can shake it out. The shoulders might start feeling it a little bit. Nothing wrong with that. And then we're going to stay with this position or with the arms and the upper body a little bit, just a little bit more. So we're going to bring the arms out just like so. We're going to open it up. So going as far back as you can with your arms and then coming forward again. As far back as you can and then back in. So it's like a really, really slow clap. Golf clap to the extreme. Big inhale, big exhale. Big inhale, big exhale. And you might find that one side kind of wants to tilt up more or less than the other. All right, you can rest. All right, shoulders might be feeling a little fatigued here, a little fatigued. Nothing wrong with that. We're going to come down to the ground. And we've already been working the core a little bit more here and there. We're going to do it a little bit more today as well. So we are trying to bring the feet up off the ground. So the knees are staying bent at this angle. And then the goal here is to try to just chillax, just hold this position. If you want a challenge, you can try to extend the legs, but this is a pretty adequate challenge, I think, for most people. So I'll kind of stay in this position. If this is too difficult, feel free to lower it down a little bit. But if you can, you want your shins as close to parallel to the ceiling as you can get them. All right, you can rest. All right, now we're going to come down, focus on the hips a little bit. So bringing the feet to this shin box type setup, and we're going to get some swivels. And this one, I'm going to try to purposely not use my hands on. So feet are dorsiflex and my toes are pointed up. We're just getting some swivels. And if you can, while you're making these transitions, really think about keeping the shoulders relaxed, keeping the spine nice and vertical. All right. Now we're going to come up. We're going to go into some kind of squatty type movements. So you can go ahead and come back up to standing. We're going to bring the feet just a little bit wider than shoulder width. And we're going into some squats. Excuse me. Going down to about parallel, maybe slightly below, and then back up. Excuse me, I've got the coughs today. Coming down, back up. Just getting a nice rhythm here. Try to focus on allowing for the knees to drive out just a little bit. Doesn't have to be a super aggressive movement. Your weight's going to be in your heels. And you can kind of notice my flow from my upper body. So my arms are up when I'm down. My arms are down when I'm up. That could be a song. My arms are down when I'm up. Arms are up when I'm down. Doing good, doing good. A few more reps here, just kind of getting the hips a little loose, getting the hips a little warm. All right, and then we're gonna take it a little bit harder movement. I say that, it is gonna be one of the harder movements I've had you do up till now. We're gonna space it out even a little bit wider. The goal here is gonna be to internally rotate one knee and then come back up, internally rotate the other knee, come back up. I'll show you a few reps and then we'll do it together. So coming down, I'll rotate this knee to the ground, back up, rotate this knee to the ground, back up. So I'll give you a rest in between each one. So we'll do just like what I just did. One rep, stand up. Okay? All right, let's do this. Nice and wide. Coming down. Bring the knee down, back up, knee down, back up, stand up. This is definitely on the harder end. Feel free if you need to like grab onto something, a door frame, or grab onto the wall to stabilize you. All right, let's go again. Down, knee down, back up, knee down, back up, stand up. It's almost like a dance or something. Be a cool dance. Come down, knee down, back up, knee down, back up. So on this next one, I'm going to go with this leg first. So knee down, back up, knee down, back up. So we're working that internal range for the hips. We're going to do one more rep here. Knee down, back up, knee down, back up, stand up. Excellent. Okay, you can shake it out. It's definitely a harder movement, not one that we've worked a ton of. So then go ahead and bring it on down. So speaking of that internal range, we're going to work kind of a similar movement pattern. This is going to be multi-phased. We've done something similar to this, but today we're going to do kind of the hardest version. So we are starting in this position. So if you can match my position, we're going to open and close. That counts as one rep. So I'll give you a second to kind of get your setup, make sure you're feeling strong in that position. And then the goal is going to be to do 10 of those. So I'm holding that position, I'm opening and closing for 10 reps. All right, let's go in 3, 2, 1, and I'm holding and I'm opening. Good, one more rep, one more rep. All right, you can rest. All right, so a few things to note, and you can kind of take inventory after certain movements like this. Your bottom foot needs to be pretty flexed. If your bottom foot is really, really passive, it's gonna make it feel like the movement's happening more in your knee. We don't want that. We want the bulk of the movement actually happening further up in your oblique, but that requires a lot of rigidity from the foot and the ankle. So make sure you are flexing your foot, you're creating a nice strong base. All right, now we're switching to go to the other side. Same premise, we're gonna lift, and then we're opening and closing for 10. All right, going in 3, 2, 1, and I'm up and opening, closing. All right, you can rest. Yeah, all right. That's definitely one of the harder ones, but you did fantastic with it. This next one's going to be challenging, but in a very different kind of way. Probably won't be as, you know, as challenging from a muscular standpoint, but it is going to be just as challenging from a discomfort standpoint. So first off, we need to get to this position. If you can't get to this position, you can definitely start with the feet up, but we do want to try and get as close to this position as you can. And I'll show you some other variations you can play around with. You can also hold on to something if this is like a bit intense. We're going to try to lift our knees up off the ground. And this might even seem kind of insane at first, but you'll eventually get to where you can do this, even if you can't now. Okay, so we're just going to work starting out with a little bit of a lean back, and then I'm going to try taking the knees up off the ground. Now you can notice I kind of shot my knees up. The goal ultimately is to do more like this, but I don't know if you'll be able to do that yet. So what I want you to do in place of that is do the first version, what I just showed you, which is kind of like my hands come down, my knees come back simultaneously, like that. So it's purposely like that. And you'll probably notice that this position is quite a bit more comfortable than when the knees are down. And that's pretty normal depending on the person, because our fascia in our feet doesn't get moved a lot. So we want to move it more. So coming back, hands down, coming down, hands up. Again, shifting back, shifting forward. I'm not gonna do a ton of these. I know it's probably gonna be feeling pretty intense on the feet. Just try and bear with me here. And if you've got pretty good control and you wanna try doing it slow, feel free to. It's definitely one that we wanna eventually get to where we can do it on the slower end. All right, you can rest. We're not gonna do as many of those. I know that's makes the feet kind of feel a certain way. All right, so let's go ahead and come up to standing. We're gonna do something a little bit different on this next one. We're gonna try to lift our feet so that we're on our heels. And the movement is gonna be just like this: up, up, down. So you can notice as I come back down with my feet, I'm coming up on the balls of my feet. That will allow you to stay centered. If you don't do that, you're probably gonna fall forward. So you don't have to come up on the balls of your feet, but it will allow you to not move as much. So again, I'm on my heels and then on the balls of my feet. Heels, balls of my feet. We're just rocking back and forth. You can kind of notice I'm getting a little flow with my upper body, trying to get good range of motion through the ankles and the feet. Whoa, almost fell out of it there. All right, you can rest. All right, so allowing you a little foot medicine there. It's definitely a good one to practice. If you're not already barefoot, being barefoot will actually allow you a bit more mobility. If you're on kind of thick, chunky shoes, it's going to make it almost impossible to be able to sit all the way back to where you can lift your toes. So just keep that in mind. All right, we're going to come back to a wider squat position, and we're going to go nice and wide here. We're going to go into a horse stance. So we're going down and we're holding. And I'm going to give you another 10 seconds or so before we go into it. And this time we're going to try to do a little bit of energy manipulation. So we're going to be pushing and pulling in kind of a more intentional way, thinking about pushing energy and pulling that energy back and forth. All right, going in 3, 2, 1, and hold. Notice what I'm doing with my upper body. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. And rest. All right, you can come out of that. And we get to do something a little bit new, a little bit different. Today we're going to go into all being up on the knees, up on the feet, keeping the knees bent, and we're going to get a little little hop here. So, and I've got some different versions. If this is too difficult for you, don't worry, I've got another version that will work just as good. So The goal is going to be down here. So if you're looking at me from the side, I'm on the balls of my feet. So my heels are up off the ground. And the goal here is going to be to hop in this position. Now that might feel impossible right now, and that's okay. If it does, bring yourself up to being bent with the knees and hop from this position. But if you feel like you can handle it, go ahead and come back down. You still want a little bit of tension. You don't want to be fully passive. But from that little bit of tension, we're going to try to get 10 hops. All right, starting in 3, 2, 1. And rest. Come out of it and shake the legs out. We're going to do that one more time. And if that felt like crazy intense, again, feel free to come up and do the movement up high. Doing the movement much lower is quite a bit harder. All right, so coming back down or coming to your own kind of home place for your legs here. And then we're going to go in 3, 2, 1, 10 hops. Nice. All right, coming back up. Shake it out again. Doing really, really well. We are going to end now on another breathing pattern, a little bit of softer energy manipulation. We're going to try to synchronize our breath with our upper body. So we're going to sink into a stance, almost like you are sitting on the edge of a chair. I'm going to bring my arms up while my palms are just kind of dangling down, or sorry, my fingers are kind of dangling down. And then I'm going to lower it and then raise it. So it's going to look like this. Kind of play around with that a little bit. Notice this kind of soft, kind of flowy nature of my arms and my hands. So from there, we're going to inhale when the arms come up, exhale when the arms go down. And I'll kind of guide you through that. So go ahead and start your position. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale, and rest. Well done. So kind of a little teaser on both the energy we were doing with the horse stance as well as the energy we were just creating with our breath. These are both what are called internal movement. And it's just connecting you to more subtle energy within your body and learning how to use that energy for other things that you're doing. So very similar to like Tai Chi or Qigong, if you've ever done any of those. We might do a little bit more before the challenge is over, but today is done. You should feel proud. Today was day 26, so now we've only got 4 more days of the challenge. Keep rocking, keep staying curious.